the broader question really concerns the famous Taiwan issue. And I think the way I'll frame it, you may not want to respond this way, but of course, people all have their favorite date about by when we need to be ready for the most acute moment of threat when China might attack Taiwan. And 2027 tends to be everybody's favorite year because that's when Xi Jinping has told his military he wants them to have a capability to either invade or blockade or what have you. I wonder how you think about the time horizon issue when you're looking at the Taiwan security matter, and whether there's a moment that concerns you more than another. Is the moment of maximum danger sooner or is it later? And how is it even useful to think in those terms? Because of course you got to be ready every day.
Yeah, and the closer we get to 2027, the less relevant the date becomes. Yeah. So in 2020, 2021 or so, when we first heard it come out in open source, when the date was pushed up from 2035, it seemed very alarming, because it was closer up. It was an acceleration by 8 years of the previous time, but it's now 2 years away, and so the closer we get to it, the less relevant it seems to us. And it was always a difference between the prospect of a war of necessity, that prior to a date of declaring a readiness to change conditions with force, it might have been a war of necessity, and that is the 2005 PRC anti-secession law, and that's under 3 conditions: if there was a declaration of independence, if number 2, if the PRC were to see unification, or if the PRC were to see a third power intervene on Taiwan's behalf, or number 3, if the PRC were to derive that unification was irrevocably beyond its reach via any other means. Those would be, any one of those, a condition under which, by its own declared law, it would determine that it must execute a war of necessity. And those would be a condition, a casus belli, if you like. Then beyond the point at which it would declare itself ready, it would have an ability to execute a war of choice. It was never a sell-by date. Right. It was never a date where the PRC had declared, we're going on this date. And I think maybe they're somewhat confused when people conflate it with that. Accordingly, when it was a long time ago and it was declared in open source, I think it was a worthy benchmark to say, seeing this, we had better pay close attention to this. And accordingly, all the time, particularly for a commander that is in the field in command of forces who, in accordance with the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, is charged with the responsibility of being ready, and that is the law that directs the Defense Department with being ready. My command, I am responsible for being ready every single day. It is, being ready. But as you can see, the closer we get to it, the less relevant that date is, and the more we must be ready today, tomorrow, next month, next year, and onward.
Thank you. Back to Lynn.